Good day, learners. How are you today? I hope you are doing great. Remember to always stay hydrated to stay healthy. Welcome to my class. Are you ready? Do you have your self-learning modules, paper, and pen right now? That's great! If you are ready, then let's start our lesson. Today, we are going to learn about statistics, specifically about posing statistical questions. The most essential learning competency for this lesson is the learner poses real-life problems that can be solved by statistics. The objectives for this lesson are the following. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to determine real-life situations that statistics can be applied. Next, you should be able to identify whether a question is statistical or not. And you should also be able to pose real-life problems that can be solved by statistics. Next, you should be able to show willingness and appreciation in performing the different tasks. Lastly, you should be able to display honesty in doing the tasks. Let's start. Take a look at the picture and answer the question. Why do we need to learn statistics? Why indeed? Why is statistics important? That's right. We need to learn statistics because it can be applied in our day-to-day activities. In our daily activities, we collect and organize objects, data, or things that we really like. For example, your mother collects different kinds of plants and arrange or organize them according to kind. You may have a collection of your favorite clothes and organize them in your closet. In school, your teacher recorded your scores to evaluate your learnings. Statistics is used mainly to collect, organize, present, analyze, and interpret data as basis in making decisions. Therefore, we are doing statistics every day. Let's do our first activity. Open your SLMs and go to page 4. Our first task is, what's new? Here are the instructions. Which question requires only one answer and which is not? In your mathematics notebook, write the word yes if the questions given below require one answer only, and write no if it requires many answers. Let's start. The first question. How old are you? So, is this question or does this question require one answer only? Or does it require many answers? That's right. It only requires one answer. So, the answer for this number is yes. The second question. What do grade 7 students prefer to eat for breakfast? What is your answer for this item with regards to the instructions before? That's right. It should be no, because this question requires many answers. Third, how many sisters does Juana have? What is your answer? That's right. It should be yes, because this question only requires one answer. Number 4. How old are the students in grade 7 Sampaguita? What is your answer? That's right. It should be no, because this question requires many answers. Number 5. How tall are the students in grade 7 Azucena? That's right. The answer should be no, because this question requires many answers. Good job doing the first activity. Now, let's do the next activity. Stay on page 4 and together, let's read the short paragraph on the what's in part. The title of the paragraph is The Story of a Beekeeper. We learned about bees and how to cultivate them in our science class, right? Right now, we will learn more about the lives of the beekeepers, especially beekeepers in Cebu, Philippines. After reading, let's use our reading comprehension skills that we learned in our English class to answer some questions. Are you ready? Please read with me. The story of a beekeeper. Honeybees are important because they produce honey and pollinate plants. They naturally live in hives. Since 2018, there has been a decline of honeybee population in the Philippines. A beekeeper in Cebu notices that this year he has 5 fewer hives than last year. He wonders if other beekeepers in Cebu are losing hives too. He started to survey other beekeepers and asked them if they have fewer hives this year than last year. Based from the results of the survey, he concluded that most beekeepers have fewer hives this year than last year. It was found out that the typical decrease is 4 hives. Let's answer some questions about the story we read. First question. What questions the beekeeper was trying to answer? So what questions does the beekeeper was trying to answer? That's right. The beekeeper wanted to know if beekeepers in Cebu have fewer hives this year than last year. Another. Do you have another answer? Yes, he has another question. He also wanted to know about how many fewer hives beekeepers have this year. Next question. Did the beekeeper collect the data to answer his questions? That's right. To answer his questions, he collected data on whether there were fewer hives this year and on how many fewer hives there were. Last question for the story or about the story. What did the beekeeper conclude? Yes, based on the data gathered, the beekeeper concluded that most beekeepers had fewer hives this year and the typical decrease was about 4 hives. Good job! You were able to successfully do the second activity. Now it's time to do the next activity that is related to the story. Please go to page 5 of your module and do task 2. In this task, the beekeeper wanted to know if other beekeepers in Cebu are losing hives. Determine if the following questions would help the beekeeper collect the data to answer his problem. So please go to page 5 of your module. Look at the table and answer the table. Okay, let us fill in the table together. So, these are my answers. Do we have the same answer? Okay, let's review. These are the questions, the given questions. Number 1, how many hives does a beekeeper's friend have? Can this question help the beekeeper answer his problem? The answer is no. Why? Because the answer to this question is only 1. Therefore, the data or the result is not a reliable source. Number 2, how many hives do beekeepers in Cebu have last year? Can this question help the beekeeper answer his problem? The answer is yes. Why is that? Because there are various answers to the question, making it more reliable. Number 3, how many hives do beekeepers in Cebu have this year? Does this question help the beekeeper answer his problem? Yes. Why is that? Because again, there are various answers to this question and it makes the result very reliable. The fourth question. What is the difference between the number of hives in Cebu this year and last year? So can this question help the beekeeper answer his problem? The answer is yes. Why? Again, there are various answers to the question. Lastly, how many hives do Mang Pablo have? So does this question or can this question help the beekeeper answer his problem? The answer is no. Because the answer to this question is only one. And again, if the answer is only one, the result or the data will not be reliable. That's it for all of the activities for today. Congratulations on finishing all 3 activities. This time, let me ask you some questions about those activities. First, what do you think is the essence of these activities? Why did we do those activities? Second, why do we need to find out if the questions only have one answer or not? And why is it important if the questions we asked only have one answer or not? Let's find out later during our lesson. Using the story about the beekeeper, statistics is about using the data to answer questions. The beekeeper needs to summarize the information in order to make conclusion. Let's learn more about the important terms we need to know about statistics. What is statistics? Statistics is a branch of mathematics that deals with collection, organization, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. So that is statistics. There are 4 steps in working with data. First, you need to pose a question. Second, you need to determine a plan on how to collect the data. Third, you need to summarize the data with graphs and numerical summaries. And fourth, you need to answer the questions posed in step 1 and summarize. So these are the 4 steps in working with data in order to do statistics well. But what is data? Data is an information used usually to calculate, analyze, or plan something. It is the main ingredient of statistics. That is data. The next term that we need to know is a population. What is a population? A population includes all members from a specified group, all possible outcomes or measurements that are of interest. So population is your subject, but it is all members from a specified group. So that is your subject of the experiment. From a population, there is a sample. What is a sample? A sample consists of some observations drawn from the population. So a part or a subset of a population. So sample is a part of a population. The next term that we need to know is variability. Variability refers to the extent to which data points differ from each other. So that is variability, how data differ from each other. Next, we need to know the 2 types. So there are 2 types of data. First is the numerical or quantitative data. This data is expressed in terms of numbers rather than natural language descriptions. Also known as quantitative data, this numerical data type can be used as a form of measurement, such as a person's height, weight, IQ, and more. So these data, just like what its name entails, it's more into numbers. Yes, numerical data are numbers. Data that are numbers. The second type of data is called the categorical data or the qualitative data. This type of data that can be stored into groups or categories with the aid of names or labels. So the examples for this data or for this type are names, eye color, or your favorite subject. So when it comes to data that are names, so That is categorical data. Those are some important terms that we need to know about statistics. For this lesson, we will focus on the first step on how to pose statistical questions. For that, we will use the questions previously asked in Task 2, the first question and the second question. So the first question is, how many hives does the beekeeper's friend have? And the second question is, how many hives do beekeepers in Cebu have last year? What is the difference between the two questions? That's right. The first question has only one answer, and that is the number of hives his friend have. And the second question can be answered by collecting the data because each beekeeper has different numbers of hives. And the difference really matters. So, which of the two questions do you think is statistical? Okay, good guess. The statistical question is question number 2. From your answers to these two questions, what then is a statistical? A statistical question is one that can be answered through data collection where variability or differences in the responses is expected. So, daghan og answer. Many answers. Okay? How do you recognize a statistical question? First, the question can be answered by collecting the data. Second, a question is statistical if the answers vary. The question should have different answers. Third, a question is statistical if the answer is percent, range, or average. Do you now know how to pose a statistical question? Very good. That's great. This time, let's discuss the importance of statistics in the various fields in the society. So first, education. How important statistics is in education? So let me give you some examples of uses of statistics in education. First, measurement and evaluation are vital part of the teaching-learning process. So when is this? Especially in making grades. Yes, so that's it. Second, it helps teachers to know multiple intelligences of the students, comparing the suitability of one teaching strategy with another, making analysis and predictions for future use. Third, it helps in allocating the general budget of education. So statistics helps in the budget of education. So it is really very important. Fourth, it helps in collecting data either numerically or otherwise. So that is the use of statistics in the field of education. Next is medicine. The use of statistics in medicine is this. First, it is very helpful in clinical trials because the use of statistics in clinical trials can contribute important information about the benefits and safety of existing medicines. Information obtained from clinical trials also provide our medical professionals and patients with a reliable and valid information about the benefits and safety of existing therapies for choosing the alternative treatment. So because of statistics, it is possible that patients can have choices for alternative treatments and also for medicines. It is really Next, in the agriculture part or field, the use of statistics in this field is in determining the effectiveness of a new fertilizer in the growth of plants and crops. We use statistics in collecting, organizing, presenting, interpreting, and analyzing the results of the experimental study. So, sa agriculture, maraming mga experiments. So, statistics is really important for those experiments. Fourth field, the business field. Statistics plays an important role in production planning according to overall preference of the customers, and the quality of products can also be checked more efficiently by using statistical methods. So, in business, statistics really plays a very important role, especially sa production planning. Yes, statistics play an important role for the quality of product. Last field is the economics. Statistics also play a very important role in economics. So in economics, we analyze behavior of different groups such as consumers, producers, government, and come out with intuitions, models, and observations. However, it is the data that enables an economist to claim such observations as exact and precise. So in economics, we analyze behavior. Yes, but sometimes when we say analyzing behaviors, these are not concrete data. So we really need statistics in order for the observations to be exact and precise. That's it for our lesson. I hope you understand everything. Let us now have another activity for the application. Okay, for your application, let's have another activity. Please refer to your SLMs again. Answer independent activity 1 and independent activity 2 on page 12 of your SLM. Let's answer together. The directions. Identify each question whether it is statistical or not. First question. How many days are there in January? Is this statistical or not? That's right. It is not statistical. Number 2. What time do teachers usually arrive in school? It is statistical. Number 3. How deep is the Pacific Ocean? That's right. It is not statistical. Number 4. What were the daily sales in Mang Pablo's eatery during the month of July 2020? That's right. It is statistical. Number 5. What is your mother's favorite food? Yes, the answer is not statistical. Very good. Now you are able to identify whether the questions are statistical or not. Let's go to the next activity. Let's do the next activity. So the next activity is independent activity 2. The directions are, or the direction is, make a statistical question based on the situations given below. So your answers may vary. I'm just going to give you my sample question. First situation. Suppose you wanted to know the ages of your family members. My sample question is, how old are the members of your family? So see, this is a statistical question because the answers vary. Number 2. Mang Pablo, a farmer, wanted to know his weekly harvest in year 2020. So my sample question is, what is Mang Pablo's weekly harvest for the year 2021? Again, the answers for this question vary, so that's why this is a statistical question. Number 3. You wanted to know the favorite TV shows of grade 7 Sampaguita students in Kulawin National High School. This is my sample question. What are the favorite TV shows of grade 7 Sampaguita students? Again, this is a statistical question because there are different answers for this question. Marisa, your MAPI teacher, wanted to determine who got the highest score in the first summative test. What problem statement can you suggest to help her answer her problem? My statistical question is, what are the scores of the students in the first summative test in MAPE? Number 5, Aling Rosa, a sari-sari store owner in Lamacan, Argao, and Cebu, wants to conduct a survey on their favorite beverages. So in this situation, my sample statistical question is, what are the favorite beverages of the people in Barangay Lamacan? Again, this is a statistical question because the answer to this question are different, or there are many answers to this question. Okay, thank you very much for doing this activity or these activities. Now let's go to your assessment. For your assessment, please answer items number 1 to number 8 of the assessment part of your SLMs on page 15. Thank you. For your assignment, do the what I could do part of your SLM on page 15 except B, item number 2. That's it for our class today. Before we end our lesson, let me give you words of wisdom from Lawrence Tamil about statistics. So she said, math is a language that you use to describe statistics, but really is about collecting information and putting it in an order that makes sense. So that's how easy statistics is. You only have to collect information and putting it in an order that That's all. Thank you.